NASCAR 2000 continues from Dover Downs International Speedway. Tonight, the chase continues for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship. As the 2000 season draws to a close, we've seen raw emotion and desire propel drivers to victory lane. Like Randy Tolsma, ending a 73-race winless drought by scoring a victory in the final race at historic Nashville Speedway. And Rick Corelli, after suffering serious injuries at Memphis last year, completed his comeback with a popular win in Richmond just 2 weeks ago. Now there are only 3 races left. Many of the best teams are looking for new drivers in 2001. And we come to a new track for the Truck Series, where everyone is on equal ground. Whose drive will be the strongest in this resume race on the Monster Mile? And we're at Dover Downs, and it is one fast racetrack, over 150 miles an hour per lap for the qualifying speed on the pole. Jay Sauter used last year, winning 2 out of 3 races, to make his resume good enough to go on to the Busch Series. What's going to happen today? Who knows, because for the 4th time this year, we're on a brand new racetrack, and this baby is quick.
It's awfully fast. If you're an owner and looking for a driver in the NASCAR Touring Series, 3 things you have to take into consideration. Number 1, can the guy drive? Secondly, can he physically handle the demands of a touring series? And number 3, is he mentally prepared to handle it? And I think Dover International Speedway will answer all 3 of those questions without any problem. So if you're looking for a driver, Dover would be a good place to do it, because this racetrack is one of the fastest and most physically demanding and most mentally demanding racetracks these drivers will run all year.
You want to see how fast it can come up and bite you? Take a look at what happened yesterday. Kurt Busch qualified for the pole, but then in happy hour, he goes out into turn number 1, right front tire blows, and he hits the wall so hard he has bruised shoulders, and he's in his backup truck. He'll start 34th. Not to mention that, if you don't have enough pressure there, well, he's also climbing into the number 97, the John Deere car, for the first time. His first Winston Cup ride. What'd he do just a couple hours ago? Stuck it in the number 10 starting position right alongside Jeff Gordon. What's going through his head as he gets ready for this race? Amy East has that story.
And just 2 days away from competing in the elite NASCAR Winston Cup Series, Kurt Busch has a very intense 200-lap truck race ahead of him. Now, Kurt, this is a backup truck. You have no laps in it. What did that crash truck do to you? Not physically, but mentally, trying to get prepared for today's race.
It taught me how hard you can go for 60 laps, and we went too far, I suppose. Just got to bring out the backup truck and do the best we can, but I've got confidence in this Exide team to bring it to the front. We're just going to take our time. We've started at the back 3 out of the 4 inaugural events, Daytona, Kentucky, and now Dover. Hopefully this one will end up being the best.
Well, Kurt Busch knows that all eyes are going to be on him this weekend, but some of our truck drivers would like to try to steal the spotlight.
And if you're Lance Hooper, you and truck owner Marty Walsh do that by qualifying in the top 10 in a place you know very well and try to attract a sponsor for next year. Now, the spotlight has already been on Jamie McMurray. He has 2 poles, a podium finish at IRP, and 3 top 10s in only 5 starts in the Ferris Concrete Dodge. But what about Marty Houston? Hey, he's unsigned right now. He is not going to drive the 75 truck next year. But he says he's got 3 good potential offers. But, Marty, the word potential is still in there. How important was it for you to qualify up front today in 6th?
Well, Dave, I think it was real important. You know, we've had a good weekend here. Truck's been pretty good, top 5 on all the sheets. You know, we think we can have a good run here, and as for me, just try to impress some people and show them that we can run up front, especially on the speedways. You know, the Spears program's been pretty stout on the big tracks, but, you know, we have a good run today to show them what I'm made of, and, you know, we've got some exciting opportunities for next year we're going to try to explore.
Marty Houston's trying to impress today. Everybody's trying to impress today at Dover.
ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and NASCAR 2000. Today from Dover Downs International Speedway, it's round 22 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Mbna ecommerce.com 200. And it is a Chamber of Commerce day here in Dover, Delaware. Great weather, not a cloud in the sky. Take a look at the points chase with just 3 races remaining. Mike Wallace trails Greg Biffle by 252 markers. And see Jack Sprague in 5th. The job is real simple. Sprague has to win, or he's mathematically eliminated from the championship. Stay with us when we come back. This great crowd here at Dover will hear the engines fire. We'll set the starting grid and go racing. Speaking of Mopar, let's take a look at our Mopar starting grid for the third time this year. Second race in a row. Kurt Busch on the pole, but remember, he's going to have to go to the back. Greg Biffle, his Killer Bee teammate, right alongside. In row number 2, Andy Houston moving up to Winston Cup next year, and a current regular on the tour, Ken Schrader. Then in row number 3, Jack Sprague and Marty Houston. Sprague has to win this race to keep his championship hopes alive. Mike Wallace, Jamie McMurray in row number 4. Lance Hooper in the number 9 slot, and Rick Crawford with his 100th NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start.
Terry Cook back in row 6 alongside Rob Morgan. In row 7, Brian Refter and Joe Rudman. In row 8 tonight, Randy Tolsma, Ricky Hendrick. Team truck to Jack Sprague. Rick Corelli, the winner at Richmond, back in row 9, and Dennis Setzer. In row 10, Coy Gibbs and Hermie Sadler.
Then in row number 11, Coy's brother J.D. and Mark Petty, son of Maurice. Then Brad Bennett and Steve Grissom in row number 12. In row 13, Lance Norrick, Jimmy Hensley, Randy McDonald, and Wayne Edwards in row 14. Row 15, Tom Carey and Carlos Contreras with the first provisional. Then the other provisionals go to Scott Riggs and B.A. Wilson and Tom Boston and Jeff Beck. A lot of trucks went home from this race as well. And there you see Kurt Busch holding up for the field to go on by. There's the names: Barfield, Martin, Shepard. Yeah, Morgan Shepard missed the race again. You can see it. It's averaged 11 drivers per race for the last 5 events now. 55 guys have gone home. Our race description here from Dover Downs. It's 24 degrees banking in the corners. Of course, it is the Monster Mile. 200 laps. The fuel window anywhere from 75 up to 90 laps if you're really stretching it. The purse over $550,000. And of course, this is the fastest 1-mile track on the schedule. It is 18 mile an hour faster than Pikes Peak, which was the quickest 1-mile circuit.
On boards, Jimmy Hensley has the Snyder trailer rental on board. Starts back in 26. Joe Rutman, the Dana Dodge. He starts 14 tonight. Brian Refner on the inside of the 7th row. The Menards, Johns Mansville, and Mike Wallace. Team ASC starts 7th spot. In 4th, Kenny Schrader, the Federated Auto Parts Chevrolet. And now he's qualified 3rd. He's moved up to the point now. Andy Houston, the Cat Reynolds Chevrolet.
So now making their way through turn number 3. Look at the crowd on hand. And now remember, this place holds 133,000. And all the way down the front straightaway and through turns 3 and 4. A great crowd on hand as we're getting ready to go racing here at the Mbna ecommerce.com 200. And round 22 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is green.
Wow. Andy Houston got a fantastic start from the pole.
Looked like the shuttle taking off. He left Greg Biffle at the line, and he's already open like 7 truck lengths. Coming out of turn number 4. That's how fast the laps are coming by. Houston just ran an opening lap of 26 seconds. It's going to get nothing but quicker from there. Whoa, contact between Rick Crawford and Jack Sprague. Crawford really eating up the real estate. He moves into 5th.
See Brian Refter and Terry Cook side by side, and Joe Rutman drives in there.
Nobody but nobody drives deeper on the tour than Joe Rutman. On lap number 2, Andy Houston dropped it down to a 24.6 second lap. Look at the margin, BP. Oh, we got a crash on the front straightaway. Way back in the pack as these guys continue to move around. That is B.A. Wilson on the front stretch. And he is on the inside wall with some heavy damage on the right front corner.
When you talked about the description of the racetrack just a moment ago, and we saw the 9 degrees banking on the straightaways, I started to say the problem with that, if something happens, you spin at this racetrack, you're going to go down and hit the inside retaining wall. Banked at 9 degrees, this racetrack is self-cleaning. Everything goes down to the bottom, and that's where the crashed trucks will end up.
The Berryman Chem Tool Chevy last time out finished 27th at Richmond, and it looks like he's going to be 34th today. B.A. Wilson had Mike Cheek come on board as his crew chief for this race, but it is going to be very short-lived. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened. Oh, man, Benny.
Looks like he came off the corner. I don't see any other trucks around. He spun. Again, on a racetrack that the straightaways are flat, you would spin down the straightaway. But here, that 9 degrees carries you down to that inside wall where you make some pretty hard contact.
He was hoping to better his season best of 9th from Texas and Chicago, but it's not going to happen. BA still in the truck, but he appears to be moving, and okay, the window net is down. Stay with us. Back after this. Under our first caution here at Dover Downs International Speedway, and on the back of that hook behind the jumbo screen is B.A. Wilson. He hit the inside wall on the front straightaway, and that's what brought out the caution. And it's looked like we're going to go back to green here on lap number 8. There's Jack Sprague. He pitted during this caution, and the word is he may have a problem in the motor. He is in 33rd position. Amy, what's wrong?
Well, that seems right, Marty. It seems as though the engine has developed a mist. They are looking for a plug wire that may have come off. They did not find that. They do indeed want to disarm the kill switch, though, if and when he comes back down pit lane.
Sprague, as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, must win this race to have any hopes at the championship. Andy Houston on the point, continues to pull away. He did it the first time, although this time Biffle gets a better run through turns 1 and 2.
And Mike Wallace has an even better run as he goes by Biffle to take over that 3rd spot.
In 4th is Ken Schrader. We go on board the Team ASE Ford with Mike Wallace. And he is now pulled up right on the back bumper of Andy Houston.
And Mike Wallace is wanting that lead. Very, very aggressive stance he's taking. He says, I want to lead this race.
Well, remember, you get 5 bonus points for leading a lap and 5 more for leading the most laps. And Mike Wallace is 252 points behind Greg Biffle. So he needs to do everything he can.
It looked to me like he's getting that 60 truck a little bit loose. Looked like it was wiggling when Andy Houston came off the corner. Here comes Mike Wallace on the inside. Does he have the run? Is Andy going to give up the spot? Or is it going to be a wreck? No, none of the above.
Well, remember, Mike Wallace has a lot of experience, a lot more than everybody else in this series here at Dover. He won the Busch Grand National race back in 1994. Right now, he definitely wants the lead, and he is trying to get past Andy Houston. Here we go, down into 3. He's got him.
He has it. Houston quickly dives to the bottom of the racetrack to cover that spot. And Jamie McMurray, that black truck back in 5th spot, he's all over the back of Kenny Schrader.
On board right now, Andy Houston. Take a look at the Lucas Oil telemetry and take a look at the speeds that these guys are reaching.
164 miles per hour when he goes down into turn 3 and drives it down. Still 145 through the corner.
Benny, you were talking about, as we're looking at this, you were talking about how quickly the next corner comes up. Take us through it here, because it really shows it well.
I mean, you're coming off the corner, you're in the bind, the truck is trying to throw you out the right side, and about right here, you finally relax. Oh, okay, I can relax. Guess what? You're in the next corner already.
There's Mike Wallace, and here comes Kurt Busch. He's just gotten around Tom Carey. That's going to move him further up into the heap, about up to the 23rd position. So he is on the move, and remember, he's got some short shoulders. Starts on the pole, but had to move to the rear because of going into the backup truck. Let's get more from Amy East.
Well, aside from already being sore from yesterday, he's extremely uncomfortable in the truck. So uncomfortable on that last caution. He wanted to come down pit lane. It seems as though one of the roll bars inside the truck is rubbing his elbow as he puts some turn into the wheel. So they are going to come down pit lane when they decide to make that stop and give Kurt a pad to protect his arm. Extremely uncomfortable, Kurt Busch right now.
Jack Roush taking a look at his team. He's made no bones about it. He wants these guys to finish 1-2 in the points. Biffle, the champion. Busch, the runner-up. And, of course, Kurt. Wow, what a job he did as he now has gone around Jimmy Hensley. Here is Scott Riggs in the RC Cola Dodge. He is getting passed by Kurt Busch.
Wow. I mean, these are not bad trucks. I mean, these are good trucks that Kurt Busch is just simply driving by.
And Scott Riggs is a candidate to take over that 99 ride next year. So move Busch up another position. In fact, he's now up to 22nd. Let's go back up front. Andy Houston's closed the gap a little bit. For Mike Wallace, the 9th time he has led a race here in 2000. Who leads the most? Well, a guy by the name of Greg Biffle. He's done it 16 times.
And right now, Greg Biffle is in a perfect spot. I told you before the race that Biffle would like to find him a hole and hide. And right now, he's found him a pretty good spot. He's a few car lengths behind Andy Houston in 3rd spot. He's 3 or 4 car lengths in front of Kenny Schrader. He doesn't have a lot of traffic around him, and that's exactly what he wants, because right now, Biffle is definitely racing for the championship.
Stay with us. The sun beginning to set here in Dover. You can see the glimmer in the onboard camera here at Dover. Stay with us. Here at Dover Downs International, Marty Reed along with Benny Parsons, Amy East, Dave Burns, and Joe Ruttman's struggling a little bit here. He's in 14th. He's going around Jimmy Hensley there. Started 14th, not moving up. But what's significant is he has just passed his 20,000-mile mark. That's right. He has completed 20,000 miles in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The only guy who has more is Jack Sprague. He did it earlier this year. So congratulations to Joe. Dave, you got more on Ruttman?
He crosses the 20,000-mile mark without the aid of his radio. Right now, the crew cannot hear him. He can hear Fred Wanke, the crew chief, but the crew cannot hear Joe. So I asked Fred, what's wrong with the truck? And they say it looks tight, but they really don't know because Joe can't say a word to him.
Well, communications on this track, if you don't have them, things are happening too fast out there, and a lot can go by. Meanwhile, look at what happened to Kenny Schrader. That's for 4th. And man, he is backing up fast. McMurray and Marty Houston go by him. He's back to 6th.
Well, he had passed Jimmy McMurray just a few laps ago, taking over that spot. But now McMurray goes back in front. Let's check out the Lucas Oil telemetry on board with Kenny Schrader. See, you hear them, that false start in the middle of the corner. That's the problem. He's having to on the gas, off the gas. You see up to 160. Listen to the accelerator. See, on the gas, off the gas. Kurt Busch, these trucks are really flying. They go on the gas one time and drive off the corner.
Well, during the commercial break, Kurt Busch has picked up another 4 spots. He's up to 9th right now. The kid is on a mission here. He won the Bud Pole, his 3rd of the year, but if you were just tuning in, take a look. He had to go to the back of the pack, started dead last in the field because he crashed his primary truck in happy hour. Has a bruised knee, some bruised shoulders, but he is out there on a mission to come back to the front. And you heard him in the pre-race interview. It's happened to him before at the inaugural events this year, like at Kentucky, where he tagged the wall hard. He's hoping that it will have a much brighter finish. And right now, he is closing in on Brian Reffner, and that is for position, BP.
For number 8 position. And I tell you what, there's every pit crew on pit road is watching the Exide Batteries truck right now, the 99 truck, because yesterday, about 50 or 60 laps into the run, he blew a right front tire. And right now he's having to run a lot harder than he wants to. And he's running hard enough. If there's going to be any kind of problem today with a tire, Kurt Busch should be the first one to know it.
Jamie McMurray in the 41. In the lap vehicle of one of the kids. That's Coy's truck today. We got to stop those guys from swapping trucks. One week JD's in the 20, Coy's in the 48, and then they turn it around on us. I think they're just trying to keep us busy up here. And then right behind Gibbs is Marty Houston. Now he has dropped back from McMurray. He's in 5th. And then Kenny Schrader right there in the 52 Federated Auto Parts Chevy is in the 6th position.
They're going by the Randy McDonald, that white truck on the inside, the 3M truck of Randy McDonald and Rick Crawford at the very back of the. And I tell you what, Mike Wallace is going someplace. But you know something, Marty? He's racing for more than this victory today.
He certainly is, BP. His nephew, 13-year-old Kenny Daigle, has been suffering from a long illness, and we'll have to get back to it. Hold on, we got to crash up on the front straightaway. Marty Houston and Coy Gibbs, and they have torn up some equipment on the inside wall. Second caution is out.
And this is what every driver, every crew chief has been wanting a caution flag so they can go in and change those right side tires to check it out. They did not want it to be them, but unfortunately for Coy Gibbs and Marty Houston, they were the two that helped everyone else out by allowing these trucks to slow down and make their pit stops.
Well, Marty's got the window net down, but he's got enough fire in the truck. He's going to try and get it back to pit lane. And boy, a ton of damage on Coy Gibbs's Mbna Chevrolet. Let's go back and take a look and see what happens.
Well, that's just the very back end of it, and what caused all this to. We saw these trucks just a moment ago. We had the cameras on as they were running very, very close together, and somehow they made contact off the corner. Around they go, and it goes down on the inside and hits that inside wall.
On board with Kenny Schrader. Oh, Marty got into him.
He did get into him. If we could go back and look one more time, I'm not sure that Coy wasn't getting a little bit loose as he came off the corner and checked up a little bit, and that's when Marty Houston got in the back of him.
Stay with us. We'll check it all out for you here at Dover Downs. Back at Dover Downs International Speedway. Second caution, triple pits. Dave Burns, you're up first.
Race leader Mike Wallace is in, trying to lead laps, gain as many points as he can on Greg Biffle. They're going to go for right side tires. I asked Tim Cahoot if they were going to make any adjustments. Tim said, we're going to put gas in it. Amy East.
Andy Houston's going to take right side tires and make a track bar adjustment, while Greg Biffle is complaining of a right front going down, just like the 99 of Kurt Busch from yesterday. So they'll change right side. Also, he has to back up. He lost in the 60, but he will win the race off pit lane. Oh, it looks like Crawford's going to be giving him a strong charge there at the end.
Well, Biffle loses a ton of time having to back up after getting into the pit very well. Mike Wallace's team did extremely well at 8.6 seconds on their stop.
You saw Biffle have to back up. What happened? His teammate Kurt Busch made his pit stop after Biffle did, and Biffle had to turn around Andy Houston to get to his pit. Well, Kurt Busch had to drive around Greg Biffle to get to his pit, and it just keeps on going. And Busch actually blocked in the 50 truck of Greg Biffle.
Well, let's go back one more time. BP, show us what happens down here.
Well, see, Andy Houston, this car, he's in his pits. So when Biffle comes in, he has to drive around. So he's parked in like that. Well, now the 99 truck has to once again drive around. And you see now they got all their tails stuck out on the racetrack. Biffle is finished, but he has to back up. Here comes Rick Crawford down the racetrack. Whoa! And Houston and Crawford make a little contact, and Jamie McMurray almost beat both of those trucks out.
So some contact between Houston and Rick Crawford, but it didn't look like it did any serious damage. Meanwhile, we're under our second caution because of the contact on the front straightaway. And so as we move in towards our guys that are up front, let's take another look at the crash, see if we can see what happened. BP?
No, this has already started. And there, see the heavy contact Coy Gibbs made with the wall, and the damage to the front of the truck was done, I believe, on the right side of Marty Houston's truck. I think that's one reason that Marty Houston had his window net down. He thought his day was over. Look, there's a contact on Andy Houston.
There's a little more damage there than I first thought, BP.
That he made with the other truck. Who was that? Jamie McMurray when he was.
Oh, it was Rick Crawford when he
Crawford,
came out.
Yes.
So right there, you can see.
That's going to hurt the downforce and affect the handling of this Cat Reynolds Chevrolet truck.
So Andy Houston may have a handling problem in the making here at Dover Downs International Speedway. Right now, Mike Wallace is your race leader. Rick Crawford has moved up to second. What a great pit stop for him.
Now, let's watch from Schrader. Let's see if the 48 truck of Coy Gibbs, if he looks like he's getting a little bit loose when he comes off the corner. No, I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe he was just moving down to get out of the way, and Marty was in such a hurry to get by that he expected that and got on the accelerator a little bit too hard. I don't know.
Well, Marty Houston was trying to use this as a resume race like we talked about at the beginning. I don't think he's going to want to remember this one after today. Stay with us. Back with more from Dover. Well, Andy Houston was running in the fourth position, came back into pit lane. Amy, what's the latest?
Well, there was enough right front fender damage for them to bring out the baseball bat and try to roll out that fender. They do suspect it was from the contact that we did see there with the 14 of Rick Crawford. Very disappointing. From fourth, he's now going to fall back quite a ways at what is a very tough track. But they wanted to be safe and make sure that right front fender was not going to hit that tire.
A crash involving Coy Gibbs and Marty Houston on the front straightaway is the reason we're under our second caution period of the day, although it's about to end as we go back to green flag racing. It'll be Mike Wallace at the point. Rick Crawford came in sixth, is now in second spot. The crew did an excellent job. Green flag flies. We're back underway at Dover Downs.
Biff was trying to take over that second spot on the outside. Crawford decided to follow Terry Cook, the lap truck. And Biff will decide to drive up on the outside. Is it going to work? Looks like it is.
So move Greg Biffle into the second spot. And now he's got to deal with Terry Cook. Now he's moving down to the low side to get under the pickuptruck.com Chevrolet, and he makes that look pretty easy. Biffle told us before the race, he says, if I'm comfortable, I'll move up. I just want to stay clear of everybody. If I'm in the top six, I'm in within striking distance. We're not going to do anything stupid. So far, he's running a smart race.
In other words, he wants to find a hole and hide. And he's doing a pretty good job of it so far. Jamie McMurray a little bit loose through that corner.
McMurray has moved into the fourth position behind Crawford. There in fifth is Kenny Schrader. And the sun, it's not low enough that it's given them a tough bit of glare. Now here comes Andy Houston. Now Andy's shown right now in the 15th position. We go on board the Cat Rental Chevrolet. That is Rob Morgan right in front of him. So that would be now for the 12th position.
And he drives down to the inside, and Morgan's spotter wisely told him he had a truck on the inside, so he gave him room.
So move Andy now back into the 12th spot. So obviously the aerodynamics not too disrupted by the contact in pit lane with Rick Crawford. Here he goes. He's about to eat up Scott Riggs in the RC Cola Dodge. Riggs is already a lap down in 24th.
And so is the 12 of Carlos Contreras, the Hot Wheels Dodge.
And we're still hearing, although we can't get Carlos to confirm it, that he'll be driving the number 43 next year with Hot Wheels sponsorship moving over to that truck.
Ricky Hendrick makes an unscheduled pit stop in the 17 GMAC.
Oh! Battle for fourth, and Schrader has contact with the 14, and look at Busch sneaking up underneath of Crawford as well, and now Busch has got a run on Schrader.
Man, Schrader, good thing he has some dirt track experience, because he was strictly dirt tracking going down into turn one.
Let's go back and take a look at this. This could have gotten really dicey.
Real ugly, real quick. Watch this, the 52 on the inside. He goes in the corner. As he turns to the left, the back end looks like it's hinged to the steering wheel. Wow, that was close.
But boy, Kurt Busch didn't lift for a second. He took advantage, picked up a couple of more spots. He's now in fourth. We're on board the 52, the Federated Auto Parts Chevy of Kenny Schrader. Let's get an update from Dave Burns.
Well, crew chief Wally Brown tried to make the truck a little bit more drivable for Ken. I guess he did if he saved it that time. He was a little bit loose. They took on right side tires, made a track bar and an air pressure adjustment to try to tighten him up.
Well, there is Kenny Schrader, and while all this has been going on, BP, I'm just looking at the score sheet, and Jack Sprague has moved back into the 8th position. So don't count Sprague out yet. We thought he dropped a cylinder early in this race. But as we look at the Federated Chevrolet of Kenny Schrader, just a few positions back. In fact, he's almost within view of this battle. Brian Reffner right behind Schrader. There comes the 24 on the move. He's got Crawford in his gun sights. Crawford's going backwards.
And Rick Crawford came out of the pits in second spot. They had a really fast pit stop in the Milwaukee Tools 4, but evidently he had a problem they didn't fix, or they created a problem with the pit stop, because it certainly isn't handling nearly as well as it did before the pit stop.
Well, Sprague was 33rd at one point in the first caution. He was the only truck that came in, and we thought the race was going to be over for him. They got the truck back out, did not go a lap down, and he has moved up and is in contention again.
And it's almost been that. It's how it's almost been for Jack Sprague's season. Ups and downs all season long. And just about the time they talked about making a carburetor change, that's how convinced they were that there was a miss in the engine. They thought it might be a problem. The thing just started working just like it had at the beginning of the race. Back to perfect. Now, Benny, I don't know about these engines, carburetors, and whatnot. How is that possible that he thinks he has a dropped cylinder, then they want to change the carburetor, and now he's back in contention?
That's a very good question. That probably will be the mystery of all time. Sometimes things just fix themselves, and there's no way to explain what was wrong with it and what fixed it.
Usually when we see that happen, it's just a matter of switching the ignition box, and it takes care of whatever miss. But no problem for Jack Sprague now, and no problem for Mike Wallace as he is going around the 51 of Tom Boston. Boston is now 2 laps down in 32nd position, and he also is going around other lap traffic. Look out, here comes Biffle. That's Randy McDonald. Look, slicing and dicing underneath McDonald. Now he's going to try the high side on Jeff Beck, and Beck gives him room, and he gets around to make it through safely. And here comes Biffle right behind him, the guy who's second in the points chase, leading this race. The guy who's leading the points, he's second in the race. Stay with us. We're at the Mbna ecommerce.com 200. Back here at Dover Downs International Speedway, we are under our 3rd caution of the day. Tom Carey has hit the wall hard in turn number 1 here on lap 80. But we've got pit stops first, and it looks like Mike Wallace is there. Dave Burns.
He is going to come down pit road, Marty, give up the lead once again, take on left side tires this time. No adjustments at this point. They're going to see how it goes and try to make adjustments later if he needs it. Greg Killer Page giving him fuel on the left rear. Amy East.
And down on this end of pit lane, the Roush-Couturiers are in for left side tires and an air pressure adjustment. Greg Biffle has an excellent stop. Teammate Kurt Busch also very quick, maybe 2nd or 3rd off pit lane.
Remember, in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, you can only take 2 tires under a caution flag. Now, we're going to see where Tom Carey's truck came to rest right here. He hit nose first into the wall, and we are still waiting for word from NASCAR officials. Let's go back and see what happened to Tom. As you can see, they're working with him still in the cockpit of the truck.
There he is, the yellow truck right in the center. Seemed to be some contact, yes. And now the 46 of Rob Morgan gets into the car, and he just, you're right, nosed head on in the wall. Now as he comes down, Lance Norrick is going to come along and make contact with the left side, and then Norrick is going in the wall. So both these trucks eliminated from competition, I would think.
Get another view of it there, and look at that, BP. That is, look, he lifts off the back wheels of the Detroit Locker truck, and man. And there's Norrick. So for Tom from Orange, Massachusetts, he's 34 years old. He had qualified 29th and had moved his way up into the top 20, but was a lap down at the time here, racing for position with Rob Morgan. Now they are getting him out of the truck. Is that him standing right there, it looks like? He's still sitting on the edge, so they're putting a neck brace on him for precautionary moves, but that is a very good sign, because if it was serious, much more serious than that, of course, they would be getting the jaws of life out and just extricating him from the truck that way. We'll try and get another update. That's what's left of Lance Norrick's truck. We'll take a commercial break and be right back. Back here at Dover Downs International, let's get you up to speed early in the go. In fact, the start, little contact there. Then the first caution was brought out by B.A. Wilson getting into the front straightaway wall. And then watch what happens. A little contact between the 75 and the 48. Coy Gibbs goes out into pit lane action, and we've got some contact involving Andy Houston in the 60. And then this is our last caution. Tom Carey hard into the turn 1 wall, and then gets hit by Lance Norrick. Norrick goes into the wall as well in turn 2, and Tom Carey has been transported to Kent General Hospital. He is in serious but conscious And that information came to us from Dr. Bob Shanufsky, the medical director here at the track. So
that was Tom Carey that was transported.
Tom Carey.
Yes.
Not
guess what? Greg Biffle has got the lead on the caution flag. He beat the Mike Wallace crew out. He has received his 5 bonus points, and that at this stage of the season, those 5 points can be big.
Let's also tell you, as the green flag comes out, Lance Norrick is okay from the crash. Back to racing here on lap 92. Lap 100 will be the halfway mark. Biffle, Wallace, Bush, McMurray. That's your top 4. Kurt Busch, remember, started 34th in this field. He actually won the Bud Pole, and if he wins the race, he will win the $10,000 bonus from Craftsman that goes along with it. But boy, it'd be the hardest pole win he ever had. Crashed the primary truck as these two up front are going after his Killer Bee teammate, Greg Biffle. We go on board with Mike Wallace down the back straightaway, and Wallace fires around him.
Biffle decided that he did not like that pressure that Mike Wallace was giving him on his back tailgate, so he said, go ahead, Mike, lead this race. Now, if Kurt Busch comes up, starts doing the same thing, he'll let Kurt Busch go, because right now the 50 truck, the Granger truck, is trying to win his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series championship.
He came in with a 252-point lead, Greg Biffle did, over Mike Wallace, the man who is running in first right now. And there is Kurt Busch, third in the points, trying to get around Wallace for that second position. And boy, I'll tell you, he is allowing Kurt to go flying by as well. So now they are running first, second, and third with a little more room back to McMurray.
Now Greg Biffle, the 50 truck, is in exactly the spot that he wants to be. Not concerned about any pressure from behind, and not concerned about putting any pressure on the truck in front of him.
Our dominating duo here in 2000, the Killer Bees from Roush Racing. Take a look at this. They have 7 wins between them, 7 poles, first and third in the points. Talk about some dominance. You're watching it happen in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Not lost in this shuffle, certainly the performance by Mike Wallace this year. If it wasn't for Kurt Busch, Wallace would be the man on top of the points chase right now. He has 2 victories, but he had a worst of a 33rd at Pikes Peak. And here comes Jack Sprague back into the picture. He is in the 6th spot now, getting around Kenny Schrader on board with the Lucas Oil telemetry. If you're just tuning in, Marty Reed along with Benny Parsons down in pit lane. It's Dave Burns and Amy East. This is the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Mbna ecommerce.com 200. The leader is Mike Wallace, I should say. Greg Biffle was the leader just a few laps ago. He has dropped back to third behind Kurt Busch. Then it's Jamie McMurray fourth, Andy Houston fifth, Jack Sprague now 6th, Ken Schrader there 7th, 8th is Dennis Setzer. Rick Corelli there in the 66 is a lap down. In fact, BP, he is the first truck 1 lap down, and he's running 15th. So only 14 trucks on the lead lap, and there is Dennis Setzer, and everybody's wondering where Dennis is going to be racing next year.
That is an awfully good question. I don't know that Dennis Setzer probably knows the answer to that question. Another crash down in turn 1. The 51 of Tom Boston has made some contact. It looks like the left rear, I start saying the left rear tire might be flat, but I think there's too much damage to really tell.
He slapped it with the rear of the truck, almost in the same identical spot, just a little bit further down than where Tom Carey struck the wall. Our 4th caution of the day here on lap 101, just past the halfway mark. Pit lane is closed.
And we see that Tom Boston has put the window net down, which signifies to the rescue workers when they walk up that he is okay. And we see a lot of fuel leaking out of the back of that thing.
There's the tail end of it. Can't really tell what happened, BP.
No.
Maybe
what might have caused him to turn around and back in the fence.
Well, he was running in 27th position at the time of the crash, and got together with Rick Ware, who had been running that truck, and they're trying to get some sponsorship together, make it a permanent arrangement for the rest of the season. He's climbing out. He's okay. Stay with us. back at Dover Downs right after this. Back at Dover Downs International, pit stops, but not by the race leader, but by third place Kurt Busch. Amy East.
Well, Kurt Busch, what about his performance today? He's going to get right side stickers, make a slight air pressure adjustment, and have a great pit stop. Remember, he's brought that truck all the way from the back to the front.
Well, and this won't be real costly, BP, because there's only 14 trucks on the lead lap. Hermie Sadler is the last truck on the lead lap on the hotjobs.com Dodge.
Those 3 trucks decided to stay out. Also, Jack Sprague. All these trucks decided not to pit. We'll see how that's going to work out as the race plays on.
There is Joe Ruttman. Let's get an update on his pit stop, Dave.
Well, the 3-time race winner this season came in and took on right side tires. He was still complaining of being a little bit loose, and Fred Wanke didn't know quite what to change. Now, I said he's still complaining. Well, they actually can hear Joe Ruttman now. He fixed the radio. I asked Fred how he fixed it. He said, I don't know. He must have just beat on it. So, doing in-truck, in-cab adjustments now is Joe Ruttman.
Well, since Fred Wanke came on board, they've had 6 top 5s, 4 poles, and 2 victories. Let's take a look at our Dodge race recap. Mike Wallace is our race leader. He has led 79 of 102 laps. There's been 5 lead changes between 4 drivers. We have had 4 cautions, and this is the 4th one we're under. Our average speeds dropped down to 91 and change. And there are the 4 guys who have led. Hermie Sadler led for 9 laps in there as well, most of it under caution when Tom Carey had his crash. And Greg Biffle, of course, getting his 5 bonus points and then backing out of the throttle. Out of the race, Brian Reffner, Tom Carey, Lance Nork, Jimmy Hensley, Coy Gibbs. Again, we'll give you an update on Tom Carey. He has been transported to Kent General Hospital. He is in serious but conscious when he left the racetrack, and that was according to the medical director here, Dr. Bob Shanufsky. There's Greg Biffle in 2nd place. Amy, you've got more on why Greg let everybody go by there after he got the lead?
Well, keeping that Roush 1-2 championship frame in mind, he was faster than Kurt Busch, but felt Kurt could pass the 2. Therefore, Kurt could get those all-important 5 bonus points. Thinking about the championship race there now, Greg was also told by crew chief Randy Goss to just kind of ride right now. He has a really strong truck. They want to make sure that he has a good run, though, here later if he needs it. He was just trying to let Kurt get the 5 extra bonus points.
Well, we're working lap number 104 here at Dover Downs International. We'll take a commercial break, be back with you. There's your leaderboard, the Mbna ecommerce.com 200. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, we call it Extra Crunchy NASCAR. You're on board with Mike Wallace. He is our race leader. Now let's take a look at some of the finishes that guys have had who have competed today in our truck race, but in prior races here at Dover. A number of NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series drivers have scored wins at Dover. Joe Ruttman won the inaugural Busch Series race in 1982. Ken Schrader won his first Grand National race in 1989 at the Monster Mile. And an interesting note, his crew chief was Tim Cahoot, now crew chief for Mike Wallace's truck effort. Schrader continued his winning ways at Dover in 91, this time in a Winston Cup car. And finally in 94, it was Mike Wallace winning for the first time in his Busch Series career. This would be a very emotional win for Mike if he can do this today. Take a look at the experience as we ride along with Mike Wallace. We tried to tell you a little bit earlier when one of the cautions came out. His nephew, 13-year-old Kenny Daigle, had been ill for quite some time, passed away. The funeral is tomorrow. He will fly out of here immediately after the race. His thoughts are with the family, so are ours, as we go back to Green Flag Racing at 107. Going down the back straightaway, it's Mike Wallace, Greg Biffle. They have pulled a little bit of a gap over the 3rd truck in line, which is Marty Houston. He is not on the lead lap. He is 1 lap down in 15th.
Wallace's truck getting a little twitchy with that 50 truck right on the tailgate. What happens is when the truck is back there, the full complement of air does not hit that rear spoiler and get the downforce that you need. And the truck gets twitchy. Careful there, boys. You're playing a little rough now. Looks like Biffle wants this lead, doesn't he?
And I don't understand why. I mean, yes, he probably has the faster truck right now, but there's no reason to push this issue. He's driven by enough trucks that have been balled up into junk already. In fact, he did it in the test session earlier this week. He wrote one off. Kurt Busch, of course, lost his primary truck yesterday. And boy, coming out of 4, that's where he gets him side by side, and he's going to take the lead.
Takes the lead down in 1, and he's trying to win a championship, but yet he's running as, I can't believe this. But maybe he feels like he's going to be more comfortable out in front.
Well, he said he would go where he was comfortable, and if it is up front, well, that's where he's at right now. And he's pulling away from Mike Wallace. Look back into that 4th truck there. That's Jamie McMurray. He has gotten around Kurt Busch and has moved into 3rd. So Busch has slipped back.
Well, Busch made a pit stop, remember, Marty, just before this green flag is out. So right now, Busch is back in 4th spot and should be closing in on McMurray pretty quickly. Let's go down to Dave Burns.
And McMurray is on the same pit strategy as the leader, Mike Wallace. It is still Mike Wallace, isn't it? No, it's Greg Biffle now. But right lefts for Jamie McMurray. He's been loose all day, but the truck is coming to him. I spoke with Todd Myers, his crew chief, and said it was definitely tightening up and coming to him, and it's not time to race yet. He keeps reminding Jamie, wait until about lap 160, and then we'll go.
There's 89 laps to go here at Dover Downs. The sun beginning to set, so the shadow's getting a little longer. There's Kurt Busch. He has now reeled in Jamie McMurray, and Jack Sprague still in the hunt. He's running in 5th, right behind Busch. There is Sprague. The mission is well known. He must win this race to keep his mathematical chances at the championship alive. Even then, it's still slim. On board with Andy Houston, who is running in the 6th position. Let's go on board with our Lucas telemetry.
See, 165 miles per hour down to 135 in the middle of the corner. And all of a sudden, Mike Wallace gets the lead again. I guess he came up and running faster than Greg Biffle wanted to go, so he moved over and let Wallace go. This is strange.
Well, for the first time today, BP, a cloud layer is starting to roll over the track as well. That could change track conditions.
You're exactly right. That could be exactly what happened. We see Biffle, he just pulls over and lets Mike Wallace go.
So again, I guess maybe Jack Roush or Randy Goss got on the radio and said, look, we don't have to wear this truck out. Just get in and lock your station and let him do all the work.
That probably was a Jack Roush call.
Here comes Jack Sprague. He's trying to get underneath Kurt Busch.
And this X-side truck for Busch is not exactly right. He looked awfully impressive the first part of the race coming up through the field, but right now he's having some handling problems, as witnessed by the 24 truck with Sprague getting on the inside and going by.
So move Sprague to 4th. Let's take a look at the line, see who's fastest. We look at Kurt Busch. How impressed were you with the fact that he qualified for his first Winston Cup race in 10th at this track?
I was very impressed, and I talked to some of the crew, the John Deere crew, and asked how that test went last week. Kurt Busch had about 300 laps here last week in the John Deere car, and they said they were very, very impressed with this young man that's driving the 99 truck today. Said he has a very bright and long future ahead in NASCAR Touring Series. We see the tail end of that X-side truck kick out as he came off the 4th corner.
I would love to hear his words when he looks next door to him on the starting field and sees the 24 of Jeff Gordon in his first Winston Cup race.
Check it out, that last lap. Jack Sprague back and forth, the fastest truck out there, and right now he's underneath McMurray for 3rd.
Sprague, who had a misfire early, trying to slice his way through the lap vehicle of Randy McDonald, and doesn't lose the position to McMurray. Had that miss early, it cleared itself. Oh, almost some contact there. McMurray's coming back. It's allowing Kurt Busch to reel both of them in. Now Sprague clears for 3rd. That's 3rd, 4th, and 5th in your screen, and 6th now with Houston in the mix. And again, McMurray gets tail happy.
I would guess there might have been a little contact there with the 99 as much as it wiggled, but maybe not. Maybe just got loose off the corner.
could see the sun glare coming into turn number 2. Sun's going to play a little bit more of a factor as it continues to set in the west.
And once again, Greg Biffle has closed up on the tailgate on Mike Wallace.
All this is going on.
And a battle for the, that's not a battle, that was the 75 car. Truck is a lap down. Amy, what's going on with Biffle down there?
Well, it seems sporadic spurts of speed come from the 50 truck, but the truck's just that fast, and he's being told, calm down and cruise. They don't want him to go as fast as he wants to go, so he's a little impatient at times. He'll take the lead, and then he'll give it right back. Now, may have something to do also with them conserving those right side tires. He's got 40-plus laps so far on that right front, remembering that it was around the 60-lap mark that Kurt Busch had his problem yesterday. So it's been sporadic, but the truck is fast and a little loose right now.
Well, for Greg Biffle, Jack and Sally Biffle, his parents, they're celebrating their 37th wedding anniversary today. So congratulations to them. Anybody that can put up with Greg for 30 of those years, they're good in our book, right, BP?
I'm telling you.
Back at Dover Downs International Speedway, Jack Sprague is on the move. He's gotten around Greg Biffle, has moved into second. There is your race leader, the number 2, Team ASC Ford of Mike Wallace. And here comes Sprague. Man, BP, he's got it on a rail. He can drive high, he can drive low.
This GMAC truck is flying around this racetrack. Right now, Brad Bennett, as he tries to go around him, he got a tough break and did not catch him at the perfect spot. He lost a little time, but trust me, as fast as that truck is, he will not be long making up that time he lost.
Sprague in 93 finished 3rd here in a Busch Grand National race at Dover. He knows this layout. It's his 144th career start. It's every single race ever held in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He's the only guy that can make that claim.
And we see him drifting up in the middle of the corner, trying to A, save his tires, 2, catch some green racetrack, get a better grip, and man, does he have a soft left rear spring in that truck. You see him when he comes off the corner, if he has to turn the wheel back to the right, it's putting any weight at all on that left rear, it bottoms out.
Sprague, despite winning 3 races this year at St. Louis, Memphis, and Evergreen, he's had 4 DNFs in the year 2000. He's only had 6 in the 5 years prior to that, and that's why he's mired in 5th place in the points. It's either been feast or famine. Right now he's going underneath Mark Petty, and Biffle's closing back in on him.
Well, I don't think Biffle wants to race too hard.
Boy, this is not a good spot for Biffle to be in with all that lap traffic, but they get through safely. Although I'm looking at the scoreboard, BP, mathematically, Greg Biffle cannot clinch the championship. With the number of trucks that have already gone out of this race, even if Mike Wallace broke right now, it would not make the mathematical numbers add up. So we are going to go on to Texas before crowning the champion, and maybe all the way to the season finale in Fontana.
I would guess that you probably will be going to Fontana to crown a champion.
There is Jamie McMurray. He's in 4th. Kurt Busch in the X-Side Ford right behind him, running in 5th.
Oh, and Sprague blows a right front up in turn 3.
Sprague and the GMAC Financial Services Chevrolet contact with the wall. He keeps it on the high side, and you're right, BP, the whole right front is just sheared away. And we just talked about it, feast or famine. And right now, pestilence has taken over once again.
And that was a very, very hard lick with the outside retaining wall in turn 3 for this GMAC Chevrolet of Jack Sprague.
Waiting for the window net to come down. That's the driver's signal that he is okay.
Right now he's trying to get his breath, because I've said this before, I'll tell you one more time. At this kind of speed, when you make contact with these outside retaining walls, all the air leaves your body. You just go in the corner and it takes you about, honestly, it feels like 30 seconds to get a breath again, trying to suck some air in.
Well, we saw some movement inside the cockpit of the truck. You can see some movement there, just there, and it looks as though Jack is moving around. Watch the left-hand part of the screen as we go back.
And there you see the truck As it went in turn 3, I just happened to look that way, and as they went in turn 3, the truck just never attempted to turn straight in the outside retaining wall. And here, the reason this truck stops, because it gets tired of rolling. Jack Sprague does nothing to help this thing stop. There, he jumps out of the truck.
And the defending champion will not defend his crown. The 5th DNF of the year 2000 for Jack Sprague. He has worn the mantle well, but it has not been the kind of follow-up year that he was hoping for. It has, in fact, been his worst season ever in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We're under yellow. Stay with us. Pit lane is open back here at the MBNAecommerce.com 200. Mike Wallace leads Greg Biffle, Jamie McMurray, and Kurt Busch and company. Dave Burns, it's all yours.
They were shouting commands down here to Mike Wallace. Tim Cahuth was. He said, do not clean the front grille. Do not clean the front grille. They must want the heat and or the downforce to help with them. Right side tires for him. Let's go to Amy East.
Greg Biffle's going to take on right side tires also, just as they had hoped. They were wanting a yellow to get the right side tires. A little hang up though. They want to make sure and get enough fuel in to go the rest of the way.
Kurt Busch is out behind his Killer Bee teammate. McMurray was the loser there. He's coming out behind Andy Houston.
I think that white line there determines who has the position, and I think that Andy Houston was in front of the 41 truck.
Well, they're going to argue about it.
Yeah, they're going to argue. Well, NASCAR will put them straight, and they'll tell them who goes where. And then when they do that, we'll tell you.
Well, we've had 7 different lead changes among 4 drivers, and right now it looks like Greg Biffle is the man that's going to be on the point there. Now you'll be able to see highlights of this race on RPM today on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. We'll also have a U.S. Grand Prix preview and a Winston Cup preview as well. It's 11 a.m. Eastern Time Sunday on ESPN2. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Let's take a look again.
Around.
Let's take a look at again, BP, on the race out of the pit lane.
Mike Wallace completes the pit stop. The NASCAR Craftsman truck official gets out of the way quickly, and Biffle finally gets his pit stop finished. He leaves, as does Busch, and watch this battle back between the black and yellow trucks. The white line right there, and it is the 60 truck that reaches it first.
So Mike Wallace is your race leader. Then it is Greg Biffle in second place, Kurt Busch, Jamie McMurray, Andy Houston. That's your top 5, and that's what's left of Jack Sprague's championship hopes. Take a look. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. This is the fastest 1-mile track the Truck Series has ever been on. Take a look at Pikes Peak. It is the second quickest. It's 3 seconds quicker here. It's 18 miles an hour quicker here. And go to Chicago. Well, there it's 7 seconds slower at Chicago and 34 miles an hour slower. BP, it's no wonder when they hit the wall, it's hurting.
That's right, because these trucks are traveling at tremendous rates. Well, we've showed you with the Lucas onboard telemetry today just what kind of speed they're getting, over 160 miles per hour. Jack Sprague was probably running, and there we see in loving memory of Kenny D on board Mike Wallace's dash you talked about just a moment ago.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, I can guarantee you the young man is on Mike's mind. It has been all day. It's been a very difficult day for him around the racetrack. And again, our thoughts and prayers go to the family, and we'll be back after this. It's International. We're under our 5th caution of the day. Jack Sprague's truck being taken back to the garage area with all the damage, and Amy has caught up with Jack.
Well, I'm here with Jack Sprague. Jack, right front tire blew. That monkey is not off your back, but you are okay. What happened?
I don't know. The guys did a great job. I had a great truck. DMAC Chevrolet was awesome. I wasn't even running it that hard. I had plenty left. The truck was a little loose, so I wasn't abusing the tire whatsoever. And the first set that came off looked great, but just having a terrible second half of this year. I don't know what else to say. The guys did a great job in the pits. Everything was going fine. Didn't have a mark on the truck. Blew it right front. So here we are again.
What happened with that sporadic misfire in the engine? It seemed you fell back and then you worked your way right back up.
I don't know. There must have been something hung in the carburetor before the race ever started, and it was only on 7. Then it started intermittently missing, and I have 8 once in a while in 7. Then it cleared up decent, and I'd only miss off the corner a little bit, but it still was plenty fast. And after that last restart there, it dropped another cylinder, and then it came back and just intermittently missed again, but it was still plenty fast. And just got to keep 4 of them black rubber donuts on there to keep going.
Well, Jack Sprague's okay. We're glad to see him walking out of the Infield Care Center as we go back to green flag racing.
8 trucks are now behind the wall out of this race. The green flag flies. 12 trucks on the lead lap, and we're working lap number 139. There's your top 3, Mike Wallace, Greg Biffle, and Kurt Busch. Jamie McMurray duking it out with Andy Houston.
Well, Andy Houston had that spot leaving pit road, but Jamie McMurray took it away quickly when they go back to racing.
And Steve Grissom has made his way into play. He started 24th, is currently shown in the 6th position. He's going around Lance Hooper. Hooper is not on the lead lap. Gives him a little wave saying thanks for letting me by cleanly.
I never see Rick Crawford on the inside of the 1 truck. And that is a battle for the 7th position. And Crawford takes it away, waves to Dennis Setzer and says thanks for cutting me some slack and giving me the spot or making this pass a little easier.
Well, we talked a little bit about this battle up front many times. Biffle looking a little racy again here late in the middle stages of the race. 60 laps remaining of this 200-lap event on the Monster Mile. On board with Mike Wallace. Last time around, 146 and change. Something just happened to the onboard momentarily. Kurt Busch trying to close the gap.
See the 75 truck, the Spears truck of Marty Houston back there in the 4th spot. He's a lap down, 4th truck in line, I should say. He's currently in 13th position, a lap down. And then we see Biffle just move over and let those other trucks go, because once again, he saw this 24 truck parked up against the outside retaining wall. He certainly doesn't need that or want that to happen to his truck.
Thinking about the points championship, remember he finished 2nd in the championship last year to Jack Sprague. Came into this race with a 252-point lead. If the race ended right now, it would be cut to only 237. So there you see it. Kurt Busch would move ahead, or would stay ahead of Andy Houston, I should say. But with Andy having a good strong run right now as well in 4th position, he's not going to make up much ground there. Mike Wallace continues on this race mission as he is running very strong here at Dover Downs International. He has led 117 laps. That's 5 extra bonus points. Stay with us. Along with Benny Parsons, Amy East, Dave Burns, I'm Marty Reed. We're at the Mbna ecommerce.com 200 here at Dover Downs International Speedway. We are under our 6th caution of the afternoon. And it was brought out by J.D. Gibbs, and a familiar spot on the front straightaway, BP.
Comes off turn 4. The truck goes around, and this 9 degrees banking carries it down to the inside retaining wall. Makes contact, enough contact. He was unable to get the truck restarted.
And then that brought everybody in for pit stops. And watch the triple box. Mike Wallace went for lefts. Kurt Busch went for rights. And Greg Biffle went for lefts. But watch the clock, because a good stop for Mike Wallace. Equally good for the number 99, but 12.6 seconds for Greg Biffle. Boy, he lit up the tires, and he's lost quite a few spots.
He lost 3 more spots. Jamie McMurray, the 43 truck, also Rick Crawford able to get by. Amy, what happened with the pit stop on the 50 truck?
Oh, they are extremely upset down here. They had a slow stop on the left rear. It seems as though a lug nut got stuck in the air gun, and they were hoping for a really good stop. Again, you can have the fastest truck, you can lead all the laps, but if you have a bad pit stop, it can make or break whether or not you win the race. Dave Burns?
Of course, Mike Wallace had a great pit stop. They took on the lefts. They took a tearaway off. They did clean the grill this time, and just a splash of fuel. I just talked with Tim Cahoot, the crew chief. I asked him, do you have any concerns about your right front tire at all? He said, no, we're good there. My concerns are with the Roush trucks. I think they're still playing with me just a little bit.
And as we go back to green, Andy Houston had a horrible stop as well. He's all the way back in 9th after being in 4th. Now, Randy Tolsma is the man at the point right now, but he is 2 laps down, 1 lap down, I should say, about to go back 2 laps down as Mike Wallace goes on by. And here comes Kurt Busch following.
Oh, and Busch just goes up and slides against the 25 as he goes by Rick Crawford in 3rd spot.
And Crawford, we talked about resume races. This is his 100th career start in the series. He has 1 career victory. Could he make it 2 today? We'll find out. He's right on target with the 99 right ahead of him at about a truck length. Dave, you've got more on the 14 truck?
Well, Marty, they're running a decal celebrating the 100th start on the truck, but they didn't put it on until after happy hour. They do not trust this Dover track. Sam Brown, his PR guy, told me they also talked about, hey, you need to win this one because you don't want your lasting legacy to be, I won 1 in 100, only Mr. 1%. You need to be Mr. 2%, 2 in 100.
40 laps to go, and what is wrong with Steve Grissom? Those are lap vehicles going by him. He has dropped all the way back to the 11th spot, BP.
And Rick Corelli has been able to get the Harlan Burners truck back in the lead lap. He goes by. He's now in 13th spot, but I don't know what's up with Steve Grissom. He was running so well, but now it looks like I would just speculate that I don't even want to speculate. I started to say he had a cylinder. He was only running on 7 cylinders, but I don't know. Amy, what's going on?
Well, from eavesdropping over the scanner, we've learned that the 43 has lost his power steering. Very tough to steer your way around the monster mile when you're doing it with your forearms with no assistance from power steering.
Well, we've always described it. You say, what's it like to have no power steering? It's like being Popeye's forearms, but without the spinach. They really pump up on you, and it's like wrestling an alligator.
And you say, well, did these cars always have power steering? No, they did not always have power steering, but they adjusted the front end settings a lot differently to help that would help the car turn.
Mike Wallace, your race leader. We've had a total of 9 lead changes among 5 different drivers. Kurt Busch has led for a total of 8 laps. Wallace has led 134 circuits now here at Dover Downs, and so he's picked up 10 bonus points today. Kurt Busch, you can see the serial scoring there. Remember now, he started dead last in this field after crashing the primary truck in happy hour, qualifying on the Bud pole. If he wins the race, he still gets the $10,000 Craftsman bonus.
Boy, he had a great run up in the middle of 3 and 4. Looked like that Mike Wallace might have slipped a little bit, and Busch is right there, right on that tailgate.
So if Mike hiccups, Kurt Busch is going to say, excuse me,
and take over the lead.
See a little bit of, is that tape out of the left rear there?
Yes, that's just a piece of tape that's starting to come off the 99 truck that's causing no problem.
I found it interesting during Amy's report earlier that Timmy Cahoot said do not clean that front grille. The sun is really starting to get covered by some cloud cover here. Temperatures are beginning to drop, and he needs either heat or downforce. So far, the combination has paid big dividends for the Team ASE Ford. Mike Wallace is in control of this race with 33 laps to go. If it ended right now, he would cut the lead down to 227 points between he and Greg Biffle. In fact, that's Biffle right there on the right of your screen in the Granger Ford, the number 50, trying to zero in on Jamie McMurray to pick up another spot. He has gotten around Andy Houston, or I should say Kenny Schrader, moved into the 5th spot. Now he's looking to take over 4th. Said as much as maybe we should about that young man McMurray. He's got another great run going since he came over onto this 41 truck. They have had a total of 3 top 10s, 1 top 5, and that being a podium finish 3rd at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Of course, last time out, he wants to forget that when they were 32nd at Richmond. That's the one hiccup they've had so far.
He has done a terrific job. There's no doubt about that.
Right now, he's got his mirrors full of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series points leader. Let's get an update on the 41 from Dave Burns.
I spoke with his crew chief, Todd Myers, and they're not bad right now. He had been tight. He had been loose all day, so they kept tightening him up. and then they tightened him just a little bit too much. So the last round of pit stop, they took on right side tires and backed that off just a little bit. I did ask Todd Myers if it was weather related, if the clouds were making them too tight. He said, no, our adjustment just went a little bit too far.
Oh, Biffle just, what a great truck, that Granger truck. He just turned left up in the middle of the corner and got on the inside of Jamie McMurray and took that spot away. Wow, was that impressive.
So Biffle from Vancouver moves up another spot. Meanwhile, up front, the battle continues. That's Jeff Beck in the 9.
Oh, whoa! Man, he about spun out in front of Mike Wallace. And Mike just about lost the lead.
I think he took the air off the rear deck, and he wasn't ready for it. So Wallace and Busch survived the little scare thrown up by Jeff Beck. And this battle for the race lead continues. We're working lap number 173. This time by 27 laps to go. And your race leader continues to be Mike Wallace in the Team ASC Ford. Can Kurt Busch get around him? Can Rick Crawford in third get both of them for his second career win? We'll find out when we come back. Back at the Mbna ecommerce.com 200. 15 laps to go. Next time by, Mike Wallace is your race leader. Kurt Busch, the 22-year-old phenom. He's going to win the Rookie of the Year championship. Whoa, he got close to the wall, BP.
Both those trucks got close to the wall as they came off turn 4. Right now, Mike Wallace, Kurt Busch, they're giving it everything they have trying to get these trucks to victory lane at Dover.
Busch will start his first Winston Cup race on Sunday. He's not thinking about that right now. Look at this battle for third. Rick Crawford trying to hold off Greg Biffle, and they almost both got into Jeff Beck.
That was close. Very, very close. Meanwhile, back to the lead, the 19 truck of Lance Hooper in front of these, and I think that traffic may play into the finish of this thing before it's over, Marty.
Lance is one lap down in 17th position. There's only 10 trucks on the lead lap. Dave, you got more on Mike Wallace?
Earlier when Greg Biffle passed Mike Wallace, the crew asked Mike, hey, did you let Biffle by? He said, no, he loosened me up when he got behind me. Now that's the kind of valuable information you might pass along to a teammate like the 99.
And he's definitely close enough to loosen that 2 truck up. You see it right up on the back tailgate. And there we see Biffle trying to take over that 3rd spot from Rick Crawford, and he does.
So that's going to pick him up a few more points in his quest to clinch the championship. He won't be able to do it today, but he takes another step with 2 more races yet to go. Greg Biffle does. Biffle continues in the Granger Ford. Next time by, we'll have 11 laps remaining, and these guys are clicking the laps off, Benny, at 24 and change. So they are still flying around this racetrack. 146 miles an hour.
I don't know, either Mike Wallace right now, his truck is coming in, he's a little bit better than Busch, or Busch is just laying back waiting for one more run. Just relax, wait for one more run to get up on that steering wheel and see what he can do. Up in 3 and 4 seems to be with a spot that Busch is quicker than Mike Wallace.
At the line, the 99 is quicker so far. You can see how far back Biffle and Crawford are. They're 5 seconds off this battle for the lead. It looks like it's going to go down to these 2. But boy, you're right, BP. There's still a lot of traffic out there, despite the fact we've had a total of 9 trucks go behind the wall.
The one truck, Dennis Setzer, who runs so well at Mopar Dodge, in jeopardy of going a lap down.
He is in 10th right now. Dennis Setzer. This time by, or last time by, Greg Biffle was the quickest at the line. So now we have 9 trucks on the lead lap. And here's more traffic. That is Ricky Hendrick right in front of him. Ricky is 12 laps down in 25th, and he is moving over.
And Kurt Busch almost caught the wall off turn 4. Enough that time he had to back off the throttle to avoid that wall. But now he's catching Busch. Mike Wallace, as he comes off the corner, Wallace did not catch Ricky Hendrick at exactly the right spot, had to back off, which allowed that 99 throw, and Busch almost lost it in turn 3. The left front caught the apron and really loosened him up.
He drops back about 2.5 truck lengths.
Don't you love to see these guys giving it everything they've got, trying to win?
Kurt Busch, Mike Wallace. These guys have had a bit of a history this year. There's the battle for 5th right now. McMurray and Houston, they've got action going as well. On board with Andy Houston. Look at the traffic. There's Joe Ruttman slowing in the pack. And somehow Wallace gets around.
And somehow Kurt Busch also made it through there.
For Mike Wallace, his 2 victories came at Daytona, first race of the season, and Mesa Marin. For Kurt Busch, his came at Milwaukee and at Loudon. Somebody is going to win their 3rd race of the season. We've got 5 laps to decide this one.
Marty Houston, the 75 truck, in the 8th spot, about to go a lap down. Mike Wallace gets a run. He's getting on the inside.
And Marty Houston does go a lap down. That means 7 trucks on the lead lap. The next victim is the 52. Whoa, and Wallace. You don't think these guys are hanging it out?
Man, oh man.
The only 2 trucks that are running in the 24-second bracket, and you're looking at both of them.
Man, this is so good. Right on, pushed him down the back stretch, literally pushing him.
Bump draft all the way.
And look at Mike Walsh's truck wiggle just a little bit when he gets up right on that tailgate. Like Dave Burns said, he's getting him a little loose.
This time by 3 laps to wall. Now there's contact.
Out of the way.
Wallace spinning around, lights the tires up, keeps it off the wall.
But the caution flag is out. Oh, man.
Now remember, we do not end under caution in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Stay up. Let them go. Let them get their laps back. Let them go. Underneath you.
Kurt Busch allowing a lot of these guys to get their lap back. And he takes the yellow flag. There is damage to the front of the Team ASE Ford, so he was not able to keep total contact off of the wall. Mike Wallace trying to make his way around. There's the crew, and
they're really upset.
One team happy, the other very upset.
We just showed you the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Man, oh man.
Mike Wallace continues to motor around. Pit lane is not open yet, and I got to tell you, he's not happy with Kurt Busch. He's coming right up behind him.
First trying to use the pace car as a safety shield.
Now remember, these guys had some history before. They've had contact several times throughout the course of the year. So far, Mike's not looked over that way. It looks like he may be trying to get ready to go into pit lane. And yes, now he does break off. And let's go back and take another look, BP.
Trucks come off turn 4. Mike gets a little bit out of shape right there. And all of a sudden, right there is the contact. And Mike goes up. And he goes around. Now he nails the gas, trying to keep this thing from backing in the fence. But it does make a complete loop, goes up, and the front is going to make contact right there.
But I'll tell you what, if he doesn't get on the throttle there, he hits that wall very hard.
Very hard. He did a great job.
Dave?
Well, lots of damage and, of course, lots of disappointment. Oh, and now Mike has hit the throttle there.
They've got to back the truck up.
They are not in the pit box. Benny, you are correct. The NASCAR official, Joey Holler, is telling them, get back into your pit stall. Wow, that was a big surprise to the tire changers. They now have it figured out and are going to put the tires back on, but it's all coming apart for him here. They hadn't won since March.
Yes, they got to be held now because he's over the line.
Wow. This is unbelievable. They hadn't won since March, so their emotions for winning today and being in a position to win were extremely high. But Benny, we pointed it out earlier, and you mentioned it as they were racing. He got him loosened up behind, and then eventually probably caused that spin.
I guess it looks like he's going to hold him for a lap.
Waiting for the penalty to end. And Mike Wallace, who was just a few laps away. Let's get another angle on this.
Right there, Mike goes down. It looks like Kurt Busch is trying to go to the outside, but they made the contact, and around goes Mike Wallace, and that is so sad. You hate to see this come down.
His thoughts all day have been with his family. Here we go on board. say, BP. Heck of a drive. There's Jimmy Smith, team owner. That's the team that's upset.
That's the 2.
Amy?
Well, I'm here with Jack Roush, a very aggressive, young, talented driver that you have in Kurt Busch. Is his truck okay? Maybe a little bit of what he thought might have happened there, too, over the radio.
Well, you know, he wasn't clear from what we saw, but yeah, he says his truck's okay. If it wasn't, I guess he'd be in denial right now. He's done a heck of a job. This is a real hard place. You saw from the number of front tires that went out. You can't go as fast as you can go a whole tire run here. You got to protect your car, and particularly when it's pushing, you got to go slower than you'd like to. But you know, Matt Chambers had coached him well, and you know, he's just done a great job.
Okay, here we go, Jack. We're getting ready for the restart.
Well, we're going to have a green-white checkered situation. This is our 4th here in the 2000 campaign. We do not end under caution, so we'll go around a green, then a white flag, then the checkered. So on lap 201, here goes Kurt Busch, right in front of his Killer Bee teammate Greg Biffle. Rick Crawford is in 3rd, but right now not close enough to have any effect. This time by it'll be the white flag. Can Busch pick up his 3rd victory of the year 2000, or will it be Greg Biffle picking up victory number 6?
I would think at this point that Biffle would try anything to try to take the win away, because right now he's in fabulous position to try to win a championship. As I say that, he closes up right on the tailgate.
For Biffle, he is going to finish in the top 5 for the 15th time in 16 races. For Kurt Busch, he's going to start his first Winston Cup weekend with his 3rd career victory in his rookie season. Crawford 3rd, Andy Houston 4th, Kenny Schrader 5th. And there is a very happy Exide 4th crew. We'll talk to the winner when we come back to Victory Lane here at Dover Downs. 1,000+ crowd.
Absolutely unbelievable. Did we ever really think Kurt Busch would come from the back to the front and take the Craftsman $10,000 bonus for the 2nd time in his rookie season? 10,000. You deserve more than that, Kurt. The crew, I think, is in shock just as much as we are. But you know, you never lost your confidence. At the top of the show, you said Daytona. You named the tracks that you've gone from the back to the front. You did it again. You're awesome.
This was a tough one today. The backup truck had a little bit of a fault to it, but it was just keep working at it, and that's what Chambers did. He's an awesome crew chief. These guys dug all weekend. Jack's an awesome guy, Jack Roush, for giving me this opportunity, and we get to go play again on Sunday. It's a lot of races in a row here.
As he gets congratulations now from Jack Roush. We said he was young, aggressive, and talented. He proved all of it today.
Well, aggression wasn't what got the job done. He had to keep the demon down today.
Hey, Benny Parsons has said it again and again. You're the real deal. Good job.
And we're going to find out on Sunday. He's going to start 10th in his first Winston Cup race in the number 97 John Deere car. There is Mike Wallace. You can tell by the look on his face, Dave Burns.
And Mike, we knew that the 50 truck earlier had loosened you up. We knew the 99 was starting to do that, but you didn't expect contact, did you?
It wasn't. How do you get loose in the middle of the straightaway? And I wasn't loose up off the corner. I drove the thing straight past the start-finish line and got turned around. I mean, I don't think that has nothing to do with chassis. That's just a very unethical way to win a race, and it's a shame. I mean, if they're having to win races and points race, I mean, we basically dominated this race all day. You know, the 15 to 99 led a few laps, but predominantly we led the whole thing, and we got taken out. It has nothing to do with chassis. It just has something to do with the driver that just drove in the back of somebody. That's the way he wants to win. That's no problem. We're going to Texas and we're going to California.
That's the other side of today's victory.
A very upset Mike Wallace, and here is one last look at the reason why. Kurt Busch gets into him. He gets into the wall. Wallace starts to spin. Doesn't make real hard contact because he lights up the tires, but it's enough to move him to 12th in this race, 1 lap down. There are the official results. It is 8th place as far as Rick Corelli's concerned, the last truck on the lead lap, and that's going to do it for us. We can tell you the points are going to change this way. Greg Biffle now leads Mike Wallace by 290 markers. It's not over yet with 2 races to go, but he can clinch at our next stop in Texas. For Benny Parsons, Dave Burns, Name East, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks so much for joining us here on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. There's your race winner. It is Kurt Busch for the 3rd time this year, getting all the photos taken in Victory Lane. Baseball tonight is coming up next here on ESPN. Don't forget, October 13th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Will there be a payback from Mike Wallace? We'll find out when we go racing at Texas at the O'Reilly 400. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. So long, everybody.